figured I'd share a couple little recent workings with Abaddon. This is following up to my last video I did, which was healing with Abaddon, which was about old working I did like about 3 years ago. Because I find it's interesting when you look at the dynamics of different spirits or entities that you work with, in that your relationship doesn't have to be defined upon any um, preliminary expectations based upon other people's gnosis of how to work with that entity. Like, yes, I love working with Abaddon for the smashy smashy destruction. If I need to do something painful, Abaddon is coming along with me. Um, but I've also found Abaddon to be helpful in a lot of other ways that don't involve cursing anyone. And I've been working with Abaddon recently on several things. Granted, some of them are they're all kind of interrelated though. But I am, this is 2023, so this is June. I am currently working on the beginning of my escape from my current location. I wanted to leave here for about 3 years, and it's gotten since the beginning of the um, and the subsequent. My area got hit really hard by the 2020 riots and looting and all of that. I would say protests, but literally it was up here. I mean, everything kind of got looted and a lot of fires, everything in every direction for miles. So like the pharmacy I go to at the Rite Aid, like 5 blocks from my house, like didn't reopen until February 2021 because they had so much fire and water damage. Um, so that was the beginning of it for me, and that it was months on end of fireworks that went from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. every night. I mean, there was a lot of flashbangs being used in M80s. And if you've ever heard those are like shit your pants loud because they come out, there's no warning. It's just sudden, like, concussive explosion that shakes everything in your house. And like during the beginning parts of the protest, there were a lot of the people are exploding all the outdoor ATM machines by a lot of businesses because like at certain parts of the city, the ATMs are like in front of the store on the street. So people were just, throwing a stick of dynamite in, blowing them up and stealing them. I think there was actual video footage of someone trying to take one onto a city bus at some point. Um, Philly's a weird place. I can't even. But it kind of started there because this was before I was diagnosed as autism, but I've always had a lot of sensory processing issues. So that kind of gave me some CPTSD related sensory processing issues on top of my already existent. This has a reason. I mean, this backstory has a reason. Why I'm getting into this. So that also has I've always had a lot of sensory processing issues. I just didn't always know why or what they were or understand them. I'm getting a better understanding of them now. But like I have a lot of auditory sensory processing issues. Like it has long been established that if you leave an exhaust fan on in the bathroom too long in any of my residences, you're leaving in a body bag. Because that's like the sounds cause pain to me and will like start. I'm starting to realize that there's a sort of like a threshold of, okay, I can tolerate this for a certain amount of time. Beyond that certain amount of time, wild card bitches. Like my hair gal knows that if she's gonna dry my hair, she's got 10 minutes. Like I don't dry. I own a hair dryer. I never use a hair dryer. Just because I just don't like the heat sound and all of it like right at my head. It's annoying. So I never dry my hair. Anyways, so there's things like that. So for me, I live in the hood, so I mean it's a lot of there's a lot of noise from now. There's the city noise I'm used to. I'm perfectly fine with the various array of sirens, buses, cars, whatnot going by. Usually, what I have more of a problem with is the subwoofer bass on cars. Because sometimes I'll just park somewhere and leave the car blasting and shaking the whole neighborhood for hours on end. Or people who will just, there's a dude on the corner who like uh, opens up the doors and windows and serenades the whole neighborhood with reggae and occasionally country and western music, which I find most confusing. Or people will get, loud system PA speakers, put them on their porch and serenade the whole neighborhood with music. Most of the time it's not music I want to hear. But um so it's like being constantly bombarded by a lot of sound and living in a house where I can't open the windows, or I sometimes will open the front door and I have the screen door there, but like I've been feeling more like a prisoner in my own home for like the past 3 years, having nothing to do with the cough. I mean, I work from home and stuff like that, so it's time for me to move. I've been wanting to move for the past 3 years. I just had some financial stuff I had to take care of, and I was ready to kind of pull the band-aid off in 2021, but decided to stick around to see how a relationship with my stupid ex, which obviously didn't pan out very well. So, anyways, so I kind of stuck around a little, see if that worked out or how it worked out, and it did not. So, um, anywho, how I've been working with Abaddon on all these things. Aside from throwing some petty shade curses aside, I've worked on setting up an altar for Abaddon specifically. Like I had some stuff, but like I kind of made my own separate little Abaddon space, and that's usually for the rather unpleasant stuff, like "You have the day you deserve." That's my new favorite, like throwing shade petty curse. "You have the day you deserve, and bless your heart." Anyways, so that setting the pet, like that stuff aside, because it's mostly at that point. A lot of times when I do sort of what I call sometimes petty curse work is like, no, I want you to have the day you deserve. I want everyone to annoy you as much as you are annoying everyone right now. I want you to feel the pain you are causing me right now. So it's kind of like a return to sender in a maybe not a literal sense, but kind of like, okay, you're just being a royally obnoxious piece of shit. So I hope everyone you run into is just like that to you. May you have the day you deserve. So that's kind of a lot of it. I'm not like literally, most of the time, not literally chucking people into the abyss, as it were. But a girl can dream. Anyways, so where I've worked with Abaddon was on helping me. Because with the noise, especially from a lot of the music, whether it's the fucker on the corner or people in loud cars and stuff, is that like there is like no place in my house I can go where it's quiet. I can hear it just as loud in the basement as I can. It's worse upstairs. Like it was, and the way my living room was set up was my sofa has been for the past 3 years along the window, and the TV was over by the stairs. I'd moved it that way around the beginning of that thing that happened in March 2020, when we all had suddenly a lot of free time. But it's sometimes hard for me to move furniture around because of my back. But I started as an experiment this year because like I can't go upstairs before depending on the night, before midnight, but more like 2 a.m. is when I go upstairs, because it'll be at least quiet enough that I can fall asleep and not be like trying to rage sleep, which doesn't work. Like I would just literally be laying there going, "Wow, can you shut the fuck up?" the whole time. So I was meditating with Abaddon on I'm like, "Abaddon, can you just put like a dampening net or a silencer, a cone of silence around my house?" And trying to figure out like troubleshooting my bullshit life with Abaddon. That's what I was doing. And it struck me that what I ended up coming up with in that time was I was like, okay, we're gonna figure this out, because like I'm just tired of stomping around my house cursing and throwing middle fingers blazing at people while I'm just trying to exist. So I decided, I'm like, I wonder if I flip flop my living room around and put the TV in front of the window and the sofa under by the staircase, if this would help block the noise. Because the problem was, because the noise was behind me, I wasn't hearing the TV and stuff in front of me. Like I was hearing the noise better than that. So I was just like, this is so what I've discovered now a day or two later, well, 2 days later now, because I think I did this on Friday, is that it actually does it does kind of help a little bit. Like I could still hear it, but it's not as bad. And it's when I have the TV on, it just like I didn't even realize my neighbor. I knew my neighbors were having like a kids party across the street. I just didn't know they were playing music, outside at some point, and it didn't bother me as much. But like what Abaddon, working with Abaddon in this sense, because I've always kind of seen Abaddon in the like if you're doing the kind of self work or shadow work where you really need to destroy that which no longer serves you or things that are holding you back. Oh my God, Abaddon is amazing to work with for that. I mean, we're talking about nuclear blasting out like the bad shit you want to get rid of out of your life. Not necessarily by cursing or anything like that, but like even for the self work, those things you're holding on to. Um, so that's kind of a little bit of how I've been working with Abaddon, and it's working with these different spirits doesn't sometimes it's pretty freaking mundane and it's like having like a committee of advisors who tell you who give you good ideas on how to live your life better or how to work manage things, because this is really like starting to cause me to have like freaking breakdowns all the time and meltdowns, and like just I needed, while I am still living here, I needed to be peaceful, and I need to not be wanting to death curse the entire neighborhood. Well, maybe not the entire neighborhood, but you get my point. So started working with Abaddon on, okay, how can I do this? How can I survive this right now? So we Abaddon helped me rearrange my living room, and there's other things they've been working on, like just kind of like, I wonder what else I can do for sensory processing. So because for adults who are late diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, there's, especially for sensory issues, a lot of that stuff is addressed more in like early childhood um, treatments and therapies for it. There isn't really any medication you can take per se. Although I will say this, ironically enough, when I was looking into some of the natural stuff, I had to laugh because I don't know why I never looked into this before, and then I was like, "Good one, Abaddon. Thank you for rubbing my nose in the fact that the solution has literally been right under my nose the entire time." But like the first things that were on there, as far as treatments for helping with sensory processing issues like that, this is obviously the homeopathic ones, but I'm like, so belladonna and deuterostromonium. Sound familiar? It's not like I have a business that's named Belladonna's Botanicals, or do that whole poison path thing and have at least a pound of deuterostromonium and belladonna right over there. Also, skullcap is one that's supposed to be good for that. So I'm experimenting with some things in that sense to see if there's ways that I can kind of dull down the sensation a little bit, because what I realized in that, because I'm ADHD, I've been taking my Adderall extended release, and I think it's just sort of like the cycles of it with where the noise starts, because really if I want to do anything relaxing, I have to do it before 6 p.m. because it's just too loud after that. So, and what I kind of realized too is that that's probably about the time when my Adderall is starting to dip down. But the thing is with the Adderall is it, because I need it for focus and attention, is that it probably is that I'm hyper focusing my attention on on that. Like it just like whereas like I haven't taken my Adderall for the past couple of days, so apologies for any rambling videos. Um I'm trying to figure out a workaround for it. Like maybe I need to take the instant release Adderall instead of my extended release. Because I've noticed without taking the Adderall, I'm not as agitated by the sound outside. So I think I was hyper focusing on it more. And then having the TV in front of the window provides distractions. Because boy howdy, does ADHD love to be distracted? Oh yes it does. So I've been trying to figure that out. And yeah, there were a couple of the other thing they suggested with that, again, another one of the answer's been under your nose all along, is Epsom salt baths. So I mean, I do, because I make so many salt baths. I do, you do a fair amount of salt baths, but I don't really use. I'm limited in how much Epsom I can use per bath, because like if I put a cup of Epsom salt in my bathtub, it detoxes me so rapidly, so fast, that like I will get really nauseous and like come very close to like passing out. So I have to be very careful with how much Epsom salt I use in the bathtub, for that reason. So, but I did pick up a little one of those Dr. Teal's ones at the store that I just keep upstairs, and throw a little bit into my tub every day, see how it works, because I'm a bath person. So, anyways, but yeah, so Abaddon helped me solve a problem and do something to make my life more manageable, better. And I think that's pretty awesome. So when we're like looking at working with these entities, because a lot of times people ask questions like, oh, well, what spirit can I work with for X, Y, and Z thing? Really, it's like work with the entities you have the best relationships with. You don't have to be like, I need to find the demon of invisibility and skateboarding, or something like that. So, work with in what you know, or what you're drawn to. And sometimes you might be drawn to something for that very reason, like that. For me, like kind of taking a step back in this process, when I was working on this, it's like, well, okay, who I could have worked with any number. Like I could have worked with Lucifer, I could have worked with Lilith, I could have worked with Marbas or something like that, or Medusa. But for me, in this particular situation, it made sense for me to work with Abaddon. So, do all workings with Abaddon have to involve the abyss or destruction or any of that kind of stuff? No, I mean they can. They're hella fun, but it's a matter of working with spirits in a way that makes sense to you. And this made sense to me, and it helped. So I've been conducting my little sensory experiments and litmus tests, since Friday, to see like that it's helping my mood. Might be a little more scatterbrained because I haven't had my Adderall in a few days, but we'll see how it goes. So take it from me, you can work with these entities or the deific masks of these entities to help make your life a little less. Anyways, I'm Jennifer. I will definitely keep y'all updated on the moving process, because that will affect business operations, no doubt. Because I do work from home, so there may be some extended, having to extend shipping, turnaround time, etc. But anyways, love you all. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Smash the notification bell and select all notifications so you get the notifications when I drop videos. Love y'all.